Well, I'd say we are live, gents, because it won't let me put my intro on. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Legion.
Cold open.
Boys and girls, children of all ages. I'm Nick the Geek. I'm joined today by two very special guests. I'm joined by the captain himself. Cap, how the hell are you doing? How's wrestling been treating you?
It's been treating me. This has been a rough year for me in wrestling. I keep trying to love AEW, but Tony Khan keeps booking. I keep trying to watch WWE without projectile vomiting, but I always keep a big bowl close to me. Past that, it's been I'm neck deep in football season right now here in the U.S., but I still keep an eye on things. But man, oof.
That well, and to bring an air of positivity to this show, I thought I'd bring in one of my good friends from the Positively Awesome Wrestling Podcast. Please check it out. Jimmy is on touching grass, shall we say, at the moment.
He is.
Albert, how the hell you doing? How's wrestling been treating you?
I'm doing good, Nick. First of all, I'm very glad to be here.
Pleased to meet you. This is my first time, I believe, working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to meet you. You did say we're deep into football season. My team isn't. So I'm hoping that you're a fan of a better team than my New York Jets.
By one win, I'm a Raider fan.
All right. So we're both kind of suffering. So,
well, yeah, suffers for 7 hours every Sunday.
The Raw Ballers. Every single Sunday during the regular season we do 7 straight hours stream of Red Zone. So yeah, we're
glutton for punishment, Albert. Glutton for punishment.
That's fantastic. I mean, listen,
we're all in a fantasy football league together. We're all degenerate gamblers, so it's like the entire 150 something hour week. It's the 7 hours of peace that we get while also screaming and yelling and cursing and
all the fun stuff that comes along with it.
Oh yeah.
Right. But gents, let's get on with the show on the subject of wrestling. This Saturday is Saturday night's main event. So I want to quickly run through the card with you guys. Tell me what you think. And then I have an interesting twist.
All right.
Which I will get to. So, and that's why
you always hold something back, Blofeld.
Yes. That's what I do. This is what I do. Right. So, main events for Saturday night's main event. We'll start off with Cody versus Drew. Obviously, this match wasn't originally planned. It was supposed to be Drew versus Jacob. As far as we know, it's Saturday night's main event, and Cody was going to get the night off. Albert, I'll start with you. What do you think of this, considering it's a bit of a throw together? Do you think it's going to be a good match? Do you think Drew has a snowball's chance in hell?
It's Drew and Cody. I think they're going to put on a solid match. I mean, we always have to remember to temper our expectations. This is Saturday night's main event. This isn't a PLE. So we know that there's going to be some time constraints. I know this is the first time they're on Peacock, so I don't know if there are actual time constraints due to the fact that they are on Peacock. They're not on NBC anymore. But I'm assuming that this isn't going to be one of those things that's going to go long. I almost think that this might be the continuation of the middle part of this feud and drive this maybe another month to Survivor Series where maybe Drew gets another match with Cody. But that's kind of where I think this goes. I don't think Drew wins. If he does win the world title, he's not winning. I don't think he's winning it at Saturday night's main event. We remember the first Saturday night's main event. They used Kevin Owens as a story to, his loss as a story to continue that feud with Cody. I think I can see something similar happening with Drew here.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right, Cap, I know you don't keep up with the current product as much as the rest of us, but you know who Drew McIntyre is and you know who Cody Rhodes is.
Oh, obviously.
The match.
Oh, yes. I bought not front row, but close row seats for me, Maddie, and Devitt, the Rumble when he won it, and I literally was in tears. A Rhodes won the Rumble. A Rhodes is going to win at WrestleMania. I digress. To Albert's point, something you mentioned as it being a continuation, and Nick and I before the show, we were talking about mid-90s WCW, and something you would see back in the day. God, I'm dating myself now. Was you would have a non-title match on television to sort of take the temperature of the room and the ratings to see kind of what was going on. Yes, this was kind of thrown together fairly quick, but Cody has kind of been stagnant. This is October. He won the belt from Cena at SummerSlam. He's kind of just Cody's whole title run. I could go on for days about that, but this seems to me like one of your classic. You would have the Clash of the Champions. You would have the non-title match, or you would have the match, and you would have all kind of run-ins, disqualifications, whatever. We're looking at October. November 1st is the date of the show. We have Rumble coming up. If the match goes over well, we know Cody's going to retain. I don't see them taking the belt off Cody on a Peacock SNME. If it goes well, you could see Cody and Drew at Rumble, possibly, which would be good. I think at that point you would have to add some kind of a stipulation to it of some kind, strap match, cage match, whatever. But my thought is Drew's a damn good worker. He's not my favorite, but he usually delivers. Cody, he's Cody Rhodes. It's gonna, even if the match is not that good, Cody's gonna look great. I have no worries that the match is going to be good. It's just, it's going to be okay. Is it good enough to, we can run with this for another couple of months, or we're kind of close to the book.
Well, they may not have a choice because you'll probably agree with this, Al, but I think the plan was Jacob.
Yeah. I mean, look, you got to remember, Drew. This was thrown together because Drew was supposed to face Jacob. Now, that was the program. So now, I feel like that's the reason why I don't give Drew much of a chance. But I also think that there's a point,
and I don't hold it against Drew. I mean, in wrestling, as a booker, you have to pivot. Like, injuries happen. You have to have Plan B, C, and D when Plan A goes tits up.
It just sucks for Drew because he's just going to again be another victim of another title run where I don't know how much Drew can keep losing before it gets to a point where everybody's like, well, all right, Drew McIntyre's, fighting for the title. He's just going to lose. I think the WWE is getting dangerously close to making Drew McIntyre kind of a loser. And I don't know where you pivot, because what other big heel do they have on SmackDown right now that you put in this position outside of, like you said, Jacob Fatu, right? To job to Cody right now. There really isn't anybody else that you would even consider being a threat except for Drew.
So Nick, you made a point once upon a time 3-4 years ago when we were first working together about Seth Rollins. You said Seth Rollins can eat L's and nothing changes. Drew? I don't think Drew. That's why I'm kind of in agreement with Albert here to a degree. Drew McIntyre cannot eat L's like Seth Rollins could back then. Yeah. How many L's? I mean, I think you're not there, but you're dangerously approaching it with Drew. Do something with him or don't.
You see, just to be a bit different, I had an idea.
All right.
See, back in Vince's day, replacements won. That was your reward for being the replacement in a feud. You got to win the match. So Drew doesn't have to win the title to win the match.
No.
Sure. No. Cody can get counted out. Cody can get DQ'd. Many things can happen. But just on
not a Luger Yoko SummerSlam 93 finish.
No.
For the love of Christ.
God, no. But what if Triple H gives Drew the belt till Rumble? It gives the feud an excuse to carry on because Cody gets his contracted rematch. Drew gets a title run that lasts a couple of months. He can big himself up and brag, finally I did it, so on and so forth. And then at Rumble, we have a stipulation match. Cody wins the belt back, goes on to Mania, faces probably Sami Zayn, if Jimmy's theory on Sami winning the Rumble is true. And then it goes on. It doesn't seem likely to me that Drew is going to take the belt. That's the thing. I don't hate this. I think it's a good idea. One, it'll help heat Drew up again, which he sorely needs. Cody can afford to take a loss at this point in his career. Everyone, and this might just be me assuming things, but a lot of modern day fans seem to think that every single world champion needs a Roman Reigns run.
No.
You don't.
And look,
you don't.
You get a Roman Reigns run once every, I don't say generation, but once every 15, 20 years, roughly in there. Like that was, I'm not going to see one of those again I'm 38. I'm probably not going to see another one of those again in my healthy lifetime, above ground.
Yeah, And I actually don't like. I don't think that the WWE has hot potatoed the world title, in like years. I mean, we used to see it during the Attitude Era. I mean, it was like a guy won it, then Kane wins
it could be weekly.
Austin wins it back the next night on Raw. Like we saw, stuff like that happen often. Batista wins the world title, he loses it the next night. Like it happened a lot. I don't know why the WWE feels the need now. I mean, I guess they don't want Cody to lose, but you know what? He lost to Seth at Crown Jewel. He loses to Drew again. His confidence is shaken. It's a good story for him to then have to get his confidence back up until we get to Royal Rumble to then finally have him get the World Championship back.
To your point there of going back to the late 80s when Dusty Rhodes was booking Crockett. There's a time to hot shot and there's a time to not. You hot shot when business is down. You don't hot shot when business is up. WWE in this whole ESPN merger, from what I've read, they have lost buku amounts of money, which, I mean, obviously WWE's still making bank, but it could be Triple H, as much as I despise the dude being a student of the game as he is. Oh, well, business is kind of tanking with this thing. We need to get business back up again. Let's hot shot this thing for 3 to 6 months, try and get business back up to where it was when we signed this deal. That could be one way of saying, oh, we're going to put it on Drew. Then he's going to take it to Rumble. Cody takes it off him. Then we got Mania. And then, oh, well, he has to defend the title, something like that. It can be done.
I mean, the simple fact is, I don't think it's a case that WWE are losing that much money, but they are losing ratings. The ratings have dropped in the last 3 months. It always does at this time of year. There's a dip up before Christmas. There always is, but they usually have to do something to get people's attention back. And I honestly think this would be a good way to do it. But moving on, because we have just waxed lyrical about Cody versus Drew far too long. All right, we've got a whole card to go through here. Next, the World Heavyweight Championship of the horribly misbooked match. CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Cap, I'll start with you. What do you think of Jey Uso? Do you think he should be in this position?
Jey Uso is the most over guy I can remember in the last, maybe the Daniel Bryan Yes movement. I'm talking WWE, like the Daniel Bryan Yes movement. He is the most over guy since then, but at the same time, who I do not want to see near a world heavyweight title because he is not Daniel Bryan. He is not a wrestler, a great worker like Daniel Bryan. Yes, he is over. There is money to be made. Keep him at the top of the card. I mean, it's working. But when I think world champion, I think, okay, this guy can work. He can work on the mic. He can either do everything decently or he can do at least one or two things really well. Jey can work a crowd. Past that, that's why I didn't hate him winning the Rumble for the success. I hated him winning the Rumble because that meant he was going to probably get the belt. It's like, dude, I'm glad you won the Rumble, but I don't want to see you with a top level strap.
Albert, you and I and Jimmy had a good long conversation last week about LA Knight should have been in this position. I'm assuming you haven't changed your mind on this. I certainly haven't. I still think it should be LA Knight versus CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. I'm a big proponent of LA Knight. I think they have made a massive mistake by not pulling the trigger on him for the past 6 months. However, I'm also the biggest CM Punk mark in the universe.
As am I.
Now, I love Punk. I will quite happily see him get a decent title reign with that world championship that doesn't last 5 minutes. Yeah. However, I brought an idea to you last week about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That I think they're going to use the storyline that Roman knows he can beat Jey. So he's going to screw Punk at Saturday night's main event, not by getting physically involved by the match, but just somehow will be the reason Jey wins. And then Roman will get his title match against Jey. Roman will take the title off Jey, and Roman will become world champion on Raw and go on to defend it at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar again, which is what the current WrestleMania advert is about, where you have Punk, Cody, Brock, and Roman all around.
Albert, did you bring any potassium cyanide with you by chance?
No, sorry. But I do believe that the main events of this year's WrestleMania, because they are pulling a trigger on it, will be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the World Heavyweight Championship and Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the WWE Undisputed Championship. And I think that's what the whole point of that advert has been. Do you have a different opinion on this, Albert? What do you think of the match? Who do you think is going to win?
So here's the thing. I don't have this hardcore detest for Jey Uso that I feel that a lot of the internet crowd has. I think that it's not even just that Jey Uso's over. Jey Uso is actually over to a point that we haven't seen in a very long time, because even when we had guys who we knew by metrics were actually over, the crowd rejected them. John Cena was the most over guy in WWE. He was getting 50-50 crowd reactions.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns was being pushed as the top guy. He was selling more merchandise than anybody else. And everybody in pro wrestling seemed to acknowledge that Roman Reigns was a main event guy, except for the live crowd who were 50-50 on them. Jey Uso is the biggest anomaly that I've ever seen in wrestling, because he's not only is he the most over guy in the entire world with the live crowd, that's not even getting influenced or not being translated at all in the live audience to the fact of what you see online, that all these people are saying, what kind of very similar to what you're saying, Captain, he's not a world champion caliber wrestler. Here's my thing. If Hulk Hogan could be the main guy in WWE for 8 freaking years, there's no reason why Jey Uso can't be the world champion for a couple of months. I'm not saying
to interrupt, Albert, but I told you last week I have the simple opinion: in WWF, you need 3 moves, the ability to work a crowd, and you're golden.
And that's
here's the thing.
He's fine with that.
With Jey Uso, I hear the music, the yeeting, then the match starts, and I check out until I hear ding, ding, ding. Hogan, for all of his ills, faults, failings, whatever, at least bell to bell, especially as a heel, he could work a match, and at least, while he only had punches, clothesline in the corner, leg drop, scoop slam, well, he could keep you going in a match with the right dance partner, and even sometimes not with a great... Yes,
what did Hogan have that Jey Uso doesn't have in his repertoire?
What did Hogan have? Legacy, credibility.
No. In his ring repertoire.
In his ring repertoire, he had a finisher that was
boom,
deathly over. Now, but again, as a heel, remember how many guys he would casually drop the leg.
Dude, it doesn't matter. He had a finish.
He did have a finisher that was over.
Yeah, Jey doesn't. He doesn't have a finish. You need a finish as a wrestler. You need a finish people will pop for. The Diamond Cutter and DDP is living proof. That move.
Hence why LA Knight should be in this match.
Yeah, because the BF
LA Knight is not getting any younger. I mean, granted, I know, like they say, load management in the NBA. WWE does load management with their guys. LA Knight is the DDP of the could have been the DDP of this generation had they actually pushed that. Yeah, I agree with you there. This should be LA Knight's spot, not Jay's.
I also do agree with you, Nick. I do think that that's one of the big things that's missing from Jey, because Jey uses a splash and everybody's kicked out of it. So, it's not, I was kind of actually hoping he was going to steal the sleeper from Gunther. I was kind of hoping that he would just keep it in his repertoire, make that like his, okay, you kicked out of the splash.
No one's stolen it from Piper.
Lock this on. Just something. He does need. That's the one thing I'll give you that he definitely does need. Other than that, he's really everything that anybody could really want, because he's that over. He's that over.
He's over. There are tickets to be sold, merchandise sold, but you can be the most over human being in the business, but eventually, the crowd is bell to bell. You've got to give me something. Your matches can't just be duds.
Here's the thing: Jey has a move in his repertoire that would make a great finish. He just does it 15 times a match, and that's the problem. It's the super kick. It carried Shawn for years.
Everybody, the super kick.
No. It doesn't matter. Paul Heyman once told a story where he wanted to give Mark Henry a headlock as a finish. Right? And he said to Vince, stop everybody else on the roster doing headlocks. And every single week, Mark Henry will come out here halfway through a match, he'll whack a guy in a headlock, and he will grind him down until he passes out. And within 6 weeks, that will be the most over finisher in the company. If you stop Jimmy doing super kicks, if you stop everybody else on the roster throwing super kicks 15 times a match, and you just have Jay throw it as a finish spot, it will work. It'll work for Sean.
Back at the time when the super kick was not really that much of a thing, it has been, pardon the phrase, it has been bastardized. The Young Bucks, I blame predominantly. Another story.
We don't.
The Usos didn't do many favors either.
Yeah, there are plenty of us. Right.
There are certain moves that you would have to, you must have to wait a generation because they've been so overdone.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Right, on to the more interesting half of this match. CM Punk. All right, Albert, you're a Punk mark. I'm a Punk mark.
Sure.
He's a Punk mark. We all were disappointed and at the same time thought it was well done with this and too obvious with the Seth Rollins cash in at SummerSlam. It was so obvious that he wasn't injured that it was, if you'd been watching wrestling for more than 5 minutes, you were like, yeah, he's coming out at the end of this match. It was done well, just like his WrestleMania cash-in was done well. They're always done well for Seth, but I think it hurt Punk immeasurably. I think it didn't do Seth any favors as a champion because he basically just whinged and moaned and lied to get the title as opposed to earning it, but he was supposed to be a shit-eating heel, so that makes sense. Do you think Punk should win this match? And if he does win this match, how long do you think he should hold the title on it?
I think that there's a point where I really thought about this knowing we were going to do the show today. I think there was a point in my mind where I said, man, I want to watch the internet meltdown so bad. So just give the damn belt to Jey Uso just to piss everybody off. Because I think it would be funny. But
not in the Rumble that happened.
I mean, look, the reality of the situation is this. We are months now away from WrestleMania season. And you could hot potato the world title from Jey Uso to somebody else in the couple of months that we have to build up to the road to WrestleMania. I mean, let's face it. I get it. It's in April, but January really starts like the whole shebang, yes. Right? So once we're at Royal Rumble, we're looking for with the very rare exception, our main events are basically set at that point, or at least we know, one part of it, right?
When Vince was working, or when he was, my reading taught me he had his WrestleMania main event planned at least by SummerSlam. His dad, Vince Sr., would have it planned, but this is obviously pre-WrestleMania. He would have it planned a year, 2 years in advance. But yes, you're right. Once you get to January Rumble.
Right. It's like even in the anomaly, years where, what was it, WrestleMania 17, we all knew that Kurt Angle wasn't going to walk in world champion. Like we knew Rock was going to beat him in No Way Out.
Houston, Texas. That
was going to be it, right? Yeah. You get it. As fans, what the main event's going to be. I love Jey Uso, but I don't see him being the world champion in 2 WrestleManias in a row. I just don't see it. And if you're not going to do that, what's the point of putting the belt on Jey Uso when the story is that he's trying to be like Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns didn't fail. And if the story that they want to play is that Jey is becoming more like Roman could come straight out to say Jey, to see Jey. And when he shows up, Roman can just be like, Jay's like, hey, I'm trying to be like you. And he can just look at him and go, I don't lose though, Jey. And then that shakes Jay's confidence. It leads to a whole big thing. I don't know. Maybe it leads to Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania again.
I hope not.
It is what it is, right? But I think that if you're good,
Albert, we were there.
Jey, my rebuttal is,
that was not good.
Yeah, you didn't fail
for that match.
How many times did I help you win?
Bloody awful. The whole crowd was chanting dude wipes during that match. It was terrible.
Yeah. Well, I think that the WWE wants them to redeem themselves. And whatever the case is, I'm not sure where Jey goes from there. But I don't think that the smart idea is for him to win the world title. Because then the story, even if unless he turns heel and cheats, that's the only way where it's going to, it benefits the story. And if you do that, then you're taking the one thing that Jey Uso is good, that makes him over,
Yeah.
away from Jey Uso. So that kind of doesn't make sense, right? So I think the smart bet would be there's no guarantee that, okay, maybe they don't keep the world title on Punk until WrestleMania. But there's a really good chance in wrestling fans' minds that would make you think, well, Punk's just going to hold the title until WrestleMania. I think that there's a really, there's a world where he does, right? I think that I don't think so, but I think there is a world where he definitely could.
I think there is a very plausible world where Seth Rollins is healed by WrestleMania and they redo the triple threat from last year, but this time with Punk as World Heavyweight Champion.
I mean, that would be great.
What's the timeline on Seth's? It was a shoulder, broken arm.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, yeah, April. That could definitely be a possibility.
I think it's entirely possible that they bring it back. They keep Punk with the belt till Mania. They have Roman, Seth, and Punk main event Mania again. This time for the world title. It made a hell of a lot of money last year, and it'll probably do the same again this year.
If Seth comes back and he's back in time for WrestleMania, I almost don't see there being a world where he doesn't have to face Braun Breaker there.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you
Which
that.
is what do you do with Braun Breaker at this point? Again, this is...
I'll get to that in a minute.
All right.
I have an idea for Braun. Right. Carrying on, we'll get through the rest of this card pretty quick.
Well, can I raise my point on one quick point on CM Punk? He is suffering right now because he would be the elder statesman in WWE if not for Can't See Me.
The John Cena
this retirement tour has been. I wish I could projectile vomit on screen, but I won't do it. I am so sick of John. I was sick of him before he came. It's like Lesnar. I'm so sick of you. I didn't miss you. Why are you back?
Albert, have you watched the match yet?
Well, against AJ?
Yeah.
Yes, it was freaking phenomenal.
Okay. Did you watch the match against AJ Styles, Captain?
No, I did not.
Watch it. It will change your opinion. Because it is the best WWE wrestling match I have watched in 10 years.
Okay, that speaks volumes.
Right.
The point I was trying to make is that once we get rid of the fraudulent 18-time world champion and we have just CM Punk by himself, then he is the elder statesman. Then he can have that sort of legacy era and have a run with the belt, because right now he's just going to get overshadowed by Cena.
Remember, Cena's only here for another 2
He'll be, if it's in Saudi Arabia, they will pay billions in dinosaur bones.
Dates. He's got 4 dates left, and that's it. He's done.
Money talks and oil.
Yeah, but do you know what? Do you know what money? Do you know what money really talks? Hollywood money.
Yep.
You tell me the Saudis ain't gonna pay $100 million for?
Oh, they might.
Cena?
They might,
but it won't get him out of his contract for the movie deals he's in that says he can't compete anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no on Cena not wrestling again after December until I see it written in blood on paper.
Okay, moving on to a match that I'm going to assume Albert is quite excited for, and I believe is going to be the biggest botch fest in the history of women's wrestling. Jade Cargill versus the plastic Tiffany Stratton. Now, I have watched these two wrestle 3 times. On all of these occasions, Jade should have won the belt, but she didn't. On all of these occasions, Tiffany Stratton has screwed up 7 moves in each match. She has been in the wrong position 4 times, has proved that after an entire 4 years in the ring, she still has no timing. And Jade, who was pushed to the moon in AEW and became quite a good worker, has dropped off the shelf a little bit, in my opinion, since she's been in WWE, because they pushed her through tag matches instead of pushing her through a singles run, which would have sharpened it in ring. By this point, I know Bianca broke her fingers, but surely the plan is Jade Bianca at WrestleMania. Tiffany needs to sod off and turn heel when she comes back. She has no business being a babyface. That character is not a babyface.
Yeah.
Albert, wax lyrical, my friend.
I think that you want the biggest. Do you want the biggest reason why WWE needs to bring back house shows is this match. This is that kind of a match that you know that maybe these two girls aren't ready to lead each other in the ring. So you do it 7 or 8 times in front of a crowd where it doesn't matter, and you get it to be as near perfect as you possibly can. You roll it out on the show, and then it looks good because all the kinks are worked out, right? I think that
Exactly.
the biggest issue that I have with the development of WWE wrestlers right now is they have every single outlet that they possibly can get, and now WWE is treating their talent so good that they're almost making them regress in the ring because there are no more house shows. And house shows were the way for people like Tiffany and Jade to get reps, to have good short matches in front of good, crowd, in front of hot crowds, where then they can find their niche and then figure out, great, you have a great 6-minute match put together. Now let's get you into an 8-minute match, and now let's get you to a 10-minute match. And they had the ability to work through that. We don't do that right now. And I
Here's
think
the thing.
Biggest issue that we have with a match like this. This should be a marquee match. And I think that there are people that are looking at this and going, yeah, by names, by name recognition alone, if you're a wrestling fan, this is a big deal. But wrestling fans who like pro wrestling and in-ring work are going to go, well, they're going to really have to do something extra special to make me even be halfway confident. I've seen them not be confident before.
Here's the thing.
I will say this. I agree with you. If Jade doesn't win now, what the hell is the point anymore? Bianca's got to be on her way back. Yeah. It's got to be Bianca Jade at WrestleMania. You've got to have. I think Bianca wins the Royal Rumble. I think it's the best story. Like that. I mean, WWE has a really good tendency to have one really good women's story, and then the rest of them are
yeah.
This is the tendency to be. This is going to be it, right? We thought last year we were going to get Rhea versus Bianca. That was like one of the big dream matches. Now we get Bianca's other big dream match this year.
Yeah, I agree. Right, Cap, you and I have watched quite a lot of NXT Black and Gold.
Yes.
This is to reference your point you made, Albert, about needing house shows. Well, when Triple H was running NXT, the reason the matches were so good was because there was a pet takeover every 3 months. Well, in the build-up to that takeover, say, for example, DIY versus the Revivals run, they would have those matches run in the Performance Center for weeks until they were good enough to put them on TV. Well, they've still got the Performance Center. It's not gone anywhere. So why aren't people like Jade and Tiffany in the Performance Center when they're not working, running these matches through, going, right, we need to get this done, we need to get that done, we need to get that done? Cap, I want to ask you a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Hulk Hogan on Logan Paul's podcast?
On Logan Paul's, no, I did not.
Okay. I'll do this quick because it's a bit of a story. He was asked about the WrestleMania 18 match with The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that The Rock wanted to run through the match over and over and over again, and Hogan was like, why? And when The Rock, what do you mean, why? He goes, well, what if they don't like it? You got to change it.
Mm-hmm. Which they had to.
That's something that it can be done by a veteran, like The Rock, like by Hogan. It can be done by a veteran. It cannot be done by two rookies like Jade and Tiffany. Do you think there is a hope in hell that they have been running this match in the Performance Center, a la NXT Black and Gold, to get ready for Saturday night's main event? Or do you think that they are just resting on the laurels that Tiffy's had a reasonable run with the belt and Jade's aura will carry her through the match?
They're resting on the laurels of all the traits, and I'm speaking strictly of Paul Levesque as a booker. One of the unfortunate things he seems to have inherited from his father-in-law, Pepe Le Pew, is that you get talent from another company and you put them on TV just to show how poor they are. When it comes to Jade and her push, I have pushed kidney stones that were more enjoyable than watching Jade Cargill perform in the ring. I recall, Nick will get this reference, a gentleman by the name of Giant Gonzalez, El Gigante. Taker worked with him in house shows for months. Not only did he not get better, he just continued to get worse. Jade Cargill is not. We've been dealing with her now for a year and a half, 2 years in WWE. She doesn't look any better than she did when she first got there. And all of a sudden, we're supposed to, her and Tiffany screw up. It's like, this thing is going to bomb. I think it's going to be awful. Jade Cargill may be a nice girl. I've never met her. She may be just the nicest, sweetest girl. You know, you knock on the door, brings you in. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Fine, sister. But stay, you see those ropes, those ring posts? Stay out of there. You're no good there. That microphone, stay the hell away from that thing.
Right. Albert,
Stratton.
that's what I want to ask you about this, because you love promos. You're a big proponent of good promos. I know this. Jade's not got any better. She's been given plenty of opportunity, and she's not getting scripted. Right? Do you think she should be scripted? Or do you think she's just not found the comfort zone that she had in AEW?
I think that's the thing. I think that the one thing that I will say about her AEW run, she was on the mic every week. And I will say this, because I'm a big fan of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. I'm a wrestling figure collector, so I listen every week. And there's a point where Smart Mark Sterling talked about how he was brought into AEW. And initially it was just, hey, MJF put in a good word for him. Hey, we need a lawyer. I know a lawyer, that's how he got his foot in the door. When they saw that he, cut a good promo, they were like, okay, here's somebody we can put with Jade, because right now we don't really know if she can cut a really good promo yet. We know she can say a couple of things, and we know she can like hit a mark, right? But we don't know if she can really do it. So they had Mark Sterling cut her promos, and then she got more comfortable. She found her niche, and then she cut, better promos. I think in the WWE, what promo time has she really gotten? It's been very rare that they've given her the mic. And I think that, again, repetition breeds success.
Possibly on purpose, because they know the result.
But, all you're doing is diminishing her star power, and then that just makes this match with Bianca less interesting. And then what's the point at that point? My thing is this. WWE has a lot of positives, but they have its faults. And I think one of their biggest faults is they're not developing their stars at as quick of a pace as they used to develop. And that's why you see a lot of people complaining about the fact of, well, if you look at the WrestleMania poster, it's 4 guys and they're all over 40. Who else is
draw?
Who else is drawing? Like, I don't care what you can say. Look, I love Dom. Don't get me wrong, but he's not ready to be the main event of WrestleMania. I love Braun Breaker. He's not ready to be the main event of WrestleMania. Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, they're not ready for that spot yet. And I think that we're putting them into that spot way too quick. They needed more seasoning, and I think Triple H just thought we could put them out there.
More seasoning. They haven't brought them out the freezer to thaw.
At the end of the day, I think Triple H thought we can put them out there and we can get something good out of them. And I just think that they haven't shown it fully yet. And I'm a big proponent on being positive about things, but it's hard to be positive when we haven't seen a good result the next couple of times. Maybe
let's wind the clock back to WrestleMania this year. Charlotte versus Tiffy. Now, regardless what anyone's opinions are on Charlotte Flair, I'll defend her to the hilt. In the ring, Charlotte's one of the best workers in women's wrestling. She's fantastic between the ropes. She always has been. She always will be. Yes, without a championship round the way, she kind of just middles about when they don't know what to do with her. But as far as her in-ring acumen goes, Charlotte is top-notch. That match with Tiffany Stratton was the scrappiest, botchiest thing that I have ever watched Charlotte have. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, it's reflecting the animosity. It's like, no, it wasn't, because they weren't laying it in on each other. Tiffany just...
An all-time great in-ring worker can cover up a lot of warts. But if that opponent is that bad... You made the point once upon a time, Nick. I forget what match it was we were watching. I think it was maybe an episode of Captain's Table way back in the day. But it was I want to say it was Randy Savage. It was like, if Randy Savage can't have a good match with you, then you can't have a good match.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah, one of those things. Charlotte Flair, yes. I hate everything about her except when the bell rings, because I know I'm in for a good match.
Yeah.
Very few I can say that about. Her matches are great.
That's enough talking about the Botch Fest. And I believe there is a triple threat at this Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't have the match card up. My phone has died.
Penta, Rusev, and Daddy Dirty Dom for the Intercontinental
Jimmy,
Championship.
This one's for you.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to, as much as Jimmy and I disagreed years before, he was on Dom before I was. It took me about 6 months, but
I am on before either of us, Cap.
I am on Daddy Dom train. I love
Dominic Mysterio.
I love
is
him.
Absolutely brilliant at his job. That is the only way to describe that young man.
And why he doesn't even look like he's trying. He's just it's effortless.
It's effortless. And now, whether that's because he's a Mysterio and it's just in his DNA, or whether he's just got that much natural talent, I don't know.
No, it's because he's a Guerrero and it's in his
Apologize. Sorry, Albert. My bad. Eddie is his father. Right, Guerrero. Right now, Rusev is not winning this match.
No,
is not winning this match. Dom is winning this match unless Albert's boy decides to get involved. You know who I'm talking about, Albert?
I don't look. I don't think that Finn is going to cost Dom the title. I don't think that. I think that I think it would make sense, but I also don't think that it makes sense yet. I think that that's going to happen closer to like Royal Rumble to set up like something for them, maybe at Mania, where maybe Finn finds the title from him. I just don't think so yet. I think we're getting there. Because I think that Dom is look. We know that me and Jimmy are on the positive Dom train, right? But there are times where I've gotta,
I mean, a ticket too. I'm there.
Look, I think everybody who watches wrestling, you gotta like have to like Dom at this point. But I think that Jimmy, lets his love get a little bit too high. Look, Dom is hiring the El Grande Americano family now to be to do his dirty work.
This is perfect.
It's so great.
It is classic heel paying some schmoes to do. It's so goddamn perfect.
Great.
Just a quick sidebar. What's going to happen when Chad Gable comes back?
I think that is
maybe exactly what's happened his entire career. Nothing, not to his fault.
Just act like this is the El Grande that was El Grande all along.
Right.
Which is what
I was never him. Like, obviously, right? Or he comes back as El Grande, brings back his two guys, the Creed brothers, under masks, and they have some fun six-mans. Just under masks, beat the crap out of each other for no reason. It'd be fun as hell.
To Albert's point, I have, again, me being the historian asshole in the bunch, Slamboree 1998, Dean Malenko under the mask of Ciclope. Chad Gable coming back under the mask of El Grande to get it. Dom would be, it would be a callback that normally I don't like callbacks, but I would get that. I would enjoy that. Yes, yes.
That would be fun.
All right. But
I don't think Dom's losing this match. I really don't.
He can't.
Even if one of the guys pins the other, I still don't think that. I just don't think that there's.
Well, you can lose a match and still not lose a match.
Right. And I don't think the idea is to protect Dom. I think Dom's going to put. When he's going to lose, I think he loses. Right. He's got to lose. Like he's been the heel who's been winning this whole time. This is the point where you make him lose. Right. So a triple threat isn't the place to do it. I think that they've got something now going with Penta and Rusev where they're going to do like this. Are they friends? Are they not kind of a deal? Make them team up for a little bit, then maybe beat the crap out of each other for a little while. That's where I see this going.
If you had Penta win and he carries the Intercontinental title for a few months, Dom loses nothing there. It's going to help Penta a little bit. It's a placeholder thing. It does free Dom up to do something else, something bigger, important. Go ahead.
However, as Albert knows, I think they're doing something else with Dom on that IC belt. Mm-hmm. There's two paths that I see for Dominic Mysterio in that Intercontinental Championship. One of them is facing Rey Mysterio in a mask versus hair match for the IC title at WrestleMania, which Dom will win. And then Rey will retire. and they will embrace at the end of the match, and Dom will naturally turn babyface when he stops Finn and JD beating the crap out of his dad after he beats him.
You shave your dad's head and turn babyface in the process?
No. He takes Ray's mask off. It's Dom's marvelous mullet. But I think the more logical place that they are going to go is John Cena. John has 4 dates left. John Cena has never won the Intercontinental Championship. And for some reason, even though Grand Slam champion means jack all, they're going to want to make John a Grand Slam champion before he retires. So I think the plan is for Dominic to wrestle John in his second to last match. I think Dominic will lose the Intercontinental Championship. I think John will then go on to wrestle Gunther, and Gunther will be brought down a peg and beat John Cena for the IC title again, which I think is a terrible move. Gunther should not be winning the Intercontinental Championship at all. He should be the World Heavyweight Championship / Cody's next opponent by winning the Royal Rumble. But that's where I think they're going. I think Gunther's going to win the IC title.
In that scenario, give me option A, option B. No.
Yeah, but I think that's what they're going to do. Right, but so I think we're all in agreement. Dom is keeping his belt.
Yeah, I don't see him losing. I don't think that there's a chance.
Right. Is there a 5th match, guys? Sorry, no. I'm terribly prepared today. Is there a 5th
match? I checked the card. There's only 4. So it's a 2-hour show. It's Triple H booking. So that means you get 1 match every 30 minutes.
Let's wax lyrical a little bit. There's always 5 matches on these shows. SmackDown is on Friday. Still add a match. What do you think they'll add? Albert? If you were going to put a match on this show, what would you do with the current state of SmackDown?
I think that I would do Julia versus somebody for the Women's U.S. Championship. I think that, I'm not 100% sure who I'd put her up against. I don't know. I haven't watched SmackDown, to be honest, in a couple of weeks. I don't have access to SmackDown right now. I've got to figure that out in the coming.
Albert, I've told you before. Get yourself NordVPN.
That's right.
Location to the UK and watch it on Netflix.
I might have to do that. That might be what I do. I'm in between doing that or getting like a Hulu TV or something like that for everything else that I want to watch. But we'll see. So I don't know if Julia. I know that she.
Albert, are you a Walmart Plus subscriber by chance?
I'm not.
Okay, because I saw something the other like an ad where like Hulu Disney was like getting offered at like some. I'm taking my Paramount that's so I can get my football and still watch the original Twilight Zone whenever I want to. But I saw something with like Hulu Disney, some kind of pairing up where they're dropping the rate ridiculously low.
I have that because I have the ESPN bundle, so I can watch the PLEs. So I might just add on the TV component onto that. And
I did subscribe to the Cock, and then, well, they raised the prices and took it off there. So
unfortunately for me, I love the Cock because it's got Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec, and I watch them religiously. So
love Parks and Rec, but I
love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And I've seen The Office like 5 times.
The Lonely Island guys are absolutely hilarious. Have you heard? Yeah, I'm assuming you know their music. Sorry, lyrical hippie.
Of course, yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Oh, right now I've got Paramount, and then I've got
Jack Sparrow with Michael Bolton doing the chorus is just amazing. Anyway,
HBO.
Back to the point. Okay, so we are done pretty much with Saturday night's main event, except one thing. I didn't bring it up earlier because Bron Breakker was mentioned. Mm-hmm. Now, Brons are not on this show. So,
mistake.
Albert, you know what I think they need to do for the World Heavyweight Championship. I've gone on about it for weeks. Cap, what pay-per-view? You haven't heard this. What pay-per-view is coming up next?
Survivor Series.
Correct. If I said the words Deadly Game.
I think Survivor
1998.
World that was
Championship tournament.
Yeah, that was the 16-man tournament where The Rock beat Mankind in the finals. Yeah.
Correct. Well, I think they need to do a Deadly Game this year because War Games isn't going to sell Survivor Series because they haven't got a good War Games match lined up. It's probably going to be the MFTs versus the Y6, and it's going to suck. All right. So why not do a tournament in Deadly Game style at Survivor Series? And to get there, Bron Breakker needs to screw both CM Punk and Jey Uso.
A Deadly Games tournament for the world title.
Yeah. The Brons are going
you have to have like a double DQ, double count out, no contest thing.
Just have the Brons interfere, beat the crap out of them both. It's a no contest. Nobody wins the belt. All right, it gets held up. We move on to Survivor Series. We hold it up in a tournament. Bron Breakker runs through every single person in the tournament until he gets to the main event. His main event is LA Knight. LA Knight is banged up from the rest of the tournament, and LA Knight, with taped up ribs and all, beats Bron Breakker.
Classic 1996 King of the Ring with Jake Roberts and Steve Austin. Roberts fought his way through, but those ribs are just...
Exactly. But this time, LA Knight wins. Bron Breakker gets his jets cooled. Bron Breakker wins the Royal Rumble. Sorry, Jimmy. Bron Breakker wins the Royal Rumble.
No,
Bron
Jimmy
Breakker
said
goes
John
on
wins
after
next year, so we're all good.
Jimmy wants Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think that's what they need to do, because I don't think Breakker's ready for the world title just yet, but I do think they should put it on him at WrestleMania. So
He would have been ready had they brought him up 2 years ago, but right now, no. You're right. He is.
Well,
he's
you have him nearly make it at Survivor Series. You have him win the Royal Rumble. You have him going to Mania to face LA Knight, whoever the champion still happens to be, and you have him win it there. He then has a ready-made feud with Seth when Seth comes back.
Look, I'm usually not that guy, but even if you watched Raw, they gave Braun had like a 2-line intro to like his backstage, like thing, and he just felt a bit uncomfortable. And I just feel like that's the only thing about Braun that holds me back for him is that, and I get it. Heyman is the guy who's talking for him right now, but I just do feel like that there are points where he's got to hit his cues and hit them hard when he does. I feel like maybe he's just not there yet. So give him a little bit more time, he'll get there. And I'm just not a big proponent on just rushing the belt on a guy just because it's like, oh, well, it's time. No, look, timing is everything in pro wrestling.
Well, much like his biological father, Scott Steiner, we know Scott was not what you would call Ric Flair on the microphone. But
Steiner Math is the greatest promo of all time.
Yes, quite possible. Well, I mean, hard times, Dusty Rhodes.
And you only have a 33% and a third chance of me not cutting you off and letting Albert finish.
So, look, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that I think that Braun is almost there. I don't think putting him in a world championship match right now does anything for, or putting the world title on him does anything for him, except for expose him for the fact that people are in a couple of months, they're going to go, oh man, maybe they put the belt on him a little bit too soon. And that's the last thing I want to see with a guy like Braun.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a lot. Did you watch his stuff with Baron Corbin in NXT?
Yes, the Wolf Dogs.
With the Wolf Dogs.
Yeah.
It was great. Fun. It was great. He came out of his shell. He was having a laugh. He felt comfortable in his promos. I don't think Bronson Reed is the guy to partner up with Braun for that back and forth.
Yeah.
I like Bronson. I do. I think Jonah Rock, which is a much better name than Bronson Reed, is a tremendous worker. He always has been a tremendous worker. He's a good talker. He's got a good look. But I don't think he got the chemistry with Braun that they wanted. I really don't.
Look, chemistry is something that you can't manufacture, and I think we're at a point where you can see it. They're not. They don't click as much as you want them to. They do in the ring. In the ring, they're great together. Behind, outside of that, you just. You're right. I don't see it. I think that it's good enough that they can work well together, but I do see there being the world where once Bron Breakker wins the world title, that's where they split up, like almost immediately, because Bronson's like, okay, now you got what I want. So how come it was you and not me?
Pretty much. Right. That is enough about Saturday night's main event, except for my twist. Because I have a literal history book sat to my right, and a literal action figure history book sat below me. I thought that I would ask you boys a simple question and give me it's the name of the show, opinion on this. Comparing the modern run of Saturday night's main event to the golden era run of Saturday night's main event. Now, I'll go first. It's quite simple. This doesn't even compare to the golden era run of Saturday night's main event. I don't think they've captured the je ne sais quoi that the original shows had. Now, how do you think they can recapture that it? How do you think they can make Saturday Night's Main Event what it used to be for people? Obviously, it was different back in the 80s because it was a big TV event. Everybody would gather around TV on cable. I don't know how you watched it in the States. We watched it on Sky. You gather around the TV and you know what's his family.
It was on NBC, so it was on basic television.
But yeah, you had three channels at that point. Fox didn't even come along until the late. So you had 3 networks and then your local UHF. I've got an antenna over. I can pull 52 channels, but only 3 of them are actual networks.
Yeah. So, how do you guys, Cap, I'll start with you. You are literally a history book. How would you make this Saturday Night's Main Event on Saturday mean as much as any Saturday Night's Main Event you want to pull out of your hat?
You have to do what they did with the absolute very first Saturday Night's Main Event, which was what? The rematch of Hogan and Andre.
Yeah.
To make something an event, you have to make it an event. Just because there's an old phrase, there's a show that needs a stadium and a stadium that needs a show. Saturday Night's Main Event is a stadium that needs a show right now. You can't just, and I realize we're in this era of streaming, and I get it. I rarely watch, regular television. I have it on when I'm working, but
I have watched TV in 22 years.
Is streaming. If you want to make Saturday Night's Main Event a thing, it has to be on par with your pay-per-view, your PL Premier Light, your big shows. You got to make it on par with that. You have to put on matches that will get eyeballs. What gets eyeballs? People who we're talking Cena, we're talking The Rock, we're talking Brock, we're talking, people that draw eyeballs.
Cody.
Whenever you run, he's not there yet. Close, but he's not there yet. Maybe after the Street Fighter thing, maybe that'll be huge, and you have to have your main event on something that's a network show or a network streaming thing. You have to make it as big as you would a Mania, a Rumble, a SummerSlam. You have to have that kind of level of eyeball attraction to it. Saturday Night's Main Event, the very first one, the rematch from WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre. 33 million people watched it. You want to get 20 million people watching Saturday Night's Main Event? Give us something of that caliber every time you run one. But here's the problem. They're running them now, once a month? Every 2 months? Something like that?
2 months. Right.
Every 2 months?
Here is a question for you, Albert. Now, I have the opinion that although the age of wrestling we're living in now from an in-ring standpoint is better than any age of wrestling we've ever lived through in our lives, as far as the in-ring product goes. If you compare the overall star power on the roster from now to the 1980s and the early 90s, it's not there.
It's not. Ron put it in the chat. He said we don't have the same stars or climate of the 80s. I think that's a big reason why the Saturday Night's Main Event is.
Hello, Ron. Sorry, mate. I have my screen on full.
Saturday Night's Main Event was an event.
That is the captain, Ronald.
Saturday Night's Main Event was an event. It was a real event. Like, it meant something. Remember, there was only 4 PLEs or pay-per-views at the time.
No, at that point, there was only 3.
Three. You're right. Yep, that's it. So, this was a huge deal. I just don't think it feels like a huge deal right now because there's so much wrestling. WWE, if you really want to watch everything in WWE, you have Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve.
It is an oversaturation and an elimination of monoculture.
Right. It's crazy how much that there is. Now you throw Saturday Night's Main Event, it's just another show that you're going to watch, and it just doesn't feel like...
Look, Albert's just put it. Albert, Ron, he was at Raw. No star power at Raw.
Punk. That's it. It's Punk.
Just had Punk. That's it. He's the only guy there.
And look, I love CM Punk, but it's not on NBC anymore, right? So they're not trying to hook casual viewers. So I think that now
is the Cena retirement, is that going to be on because his last match is on Saturday Night's Main Event in December, right?
Yes.
Is that going to be NBC?
I think
network television.
I think so, because I think that
that could draw a number if they actually. If they actually go ahead. My
if they promote it right and put them against the right guy, sure. But I just think that we're at the point where, unless it's something like that, where it's John Cena's retirement, we're not going to see effort put into these anymore. And you know what? I think that's almost better. And I think that what they should do is take this and go back to the original concept of what Saturday Night's Main Event was. One big match and a bunch of fun little squashes. I like that concept better, because now you're going to be like, all right. And remember, they used to put their big match on first. It would start off with their big match, and then you get a couple of exhibitions at the end, and you'd stick around if you were a big Ultimate Warrior fan, because Hogan started the show. So you'd stick around if you were a Warrior fan to see Warrior squash, this guy in 3 seconds, That was, I think that if you're going to do Saturday Night's Main Event, go back to that, because.
Well, also you have to remember, Albert, in those days, you did not have guaranteed contracts. Your pay was based on a percentage of house, sales, pay-per-views, whatever. These days, everybody's got guaranteed contracts. So there's not nearly the incentive to, because the old booking formula was, you have your big event. You got 33% goes to the main event, and those two guys split a third of the house. Then you've got whatever goes to taxes, whatever. Then you got the rest of the card where they sort of split it up,
The old Jerry Jarrett booking mentality.
Yeah. We're not in that way anymore, where the guys in the first match could get paid just as much as the guys in the third or the fourth or the fifth or whatever. There's no incentive to be the main event because you're not going to get paid anymore.
It's not about getting paid anymore. It's about legacy these days. 90% of these guys and girls dreamed about working for WWF their entire life. The last thing you want to do once you're making the money is run your name into the ground. You want a legacy that people can be proud of. It's like, I'll use Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, as an example. He has worked wonders in TNA. And he said himself in many interviews with Chris Van Vliet and a few others, he has no regrets about his WWE run because all of the fans have the same opinion of Dolph Ziggler.
Every match he wrestled was fantastic.
Dolph was a should have been guy.
He was the Kurt Hennig of his generation. He was. It's like, why did Mr. Perfect never get the world title? Why did Scott Hall never get? Why did Dolph Ziggler never get the run he should have gotten?
Yeah.
But they all can't go on at once. You have to have the headliner.
Right, this neatly segues me into my next point. We just brought up the fact that the WrestleMania advert. Now, everyone keeps saying there's nobody under 40 on the advert. Well, Cody's 39, so yes, there is.
He's that young.
I don't have much.
He's 39 this year, right? So
he's the same age as I am.
Yes, Cody is under 40. However, the reason that there are only that people on that advert is because they're the biggest stars and names that draw in the company.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's a sad fact. And I was talking to Simon about this. Hi, Simon. Talked to Simon about this early on today. Someone pointed out, was complaining about the fact that there's only 40. Well, a large portion of the wrestling audience, including myself, are over 40. Right? Albert's 40.
I'm 40. I'm right there on the dot. Yep.
No, exactly. I'm 42. Cap is fast approaching 40. We are the ones that spend our hard-earned money on merchandise. We are the ones that spend our hard-earned money on tickets. We are the ones that spend our hard-earned money on WWE and WWF and AEW and other things that we want to go to enjoy our passion and enjoy our things. There is nothing wrong with a guy who has grinded his career to still be on top at 40 years old. I don't understand what it is with modern Western wrestling fans, because this doesn't happen in Japan, where they think as soon as you hit 38 years old, your career is done and you need to retire. Minoru Suzuki is 54 years old, and Murder Grandpa is still having some of the best matches in modern wrestling. Right?
I love that.
On a yearly basis. Yes. Albert, go ahead.
Age does not matter. I don't care what anybody says. AJ Styles is putting on solid matches right now, and he's almost 50. I don't care how old somebody is. What matters to me is, can you draw? Can you talk on the mic? Can you bring fans into the arena? And can your matches live up to the hype? If you can still hit those things, I don't care if you're 90.
Yeah.
If people are going to still pay to see you do this, then There's no reason why they should be pushed down the card. Now, I get the idea. Well, they need to get the younger guys in. Yeah, the younger guys will get there when the older guys are done. They're gonna get there.
To you gentlemen's point, I just effort because I'm also not a wrestling nerd. I'm also just a math nerd. I did the math on this. Starrcade 1997. Year and a half, we built up to these two old guys. Hogan was 44. Sting was 38. Guess how many people just bought that pay-per-view?
Yes, I do.
1.9 million, roughly 675,000 homes. You sold the biggest pay-per-view in the history of a promotion on two guys whose median age was 41. If they draw, they draw.
That's a simple fact. It does my head in, quite frankly, to use a British vernacular. It does the Sweden, right? That people believe that young guys, I'll use Bron Breakker as an example, are just ready because they're young. No, you're not. You've got to get your reps in. Like, people throw the word great around, like, far too easily these days. They go, oh, that person is great. No, he's not. He's good. Right? Ric Flair was great. Ricky Steamboat was great. Rick Rude was great. Kurt Hennig was great. Hulk Hogan was great. Sting was great. Dusty Rhodes was the greatest of all time.
Brad,
okay, you know my opinion. Right?
I know.
Bron Breakker is good. I'm trying to think of another example. Both the Brons are good, but they're not great. Right? Solo Sikoa should be called So-So Sikoa, as my brother calls him, because he is just a so-so wrestler. Roman Reigns has only just achieved great, in my opinion, because of what he's done in the past 3 years. Before then, he was just the guy that was never going to be the guy because Vince didn't know how to push him. It takes a long time in professional wrestling for you to, what's the word I'm looking for? To mature, to wisen, to get your reps in and become great.
Wrestlers age like bourbon, not like beer.
Yeah. Hey, Nick,
exactly.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Where do you rate Will Ospreay on that scale? I know you're a big Ospreay fan.
Oh, Ospreay is really, really, really good.
Okay. See, I very much appreciate how biased you are.
I'm probably even higher on Ospreay than Ospreay. While I don't like a lot of what he does, I would say at this very moment, pound for pound, between the ropes, bell to bell, Ospreay might be the best that there is going. If you said, okay, Cap, you get to build your dream card of the best in-ring guys available.
Agreed.
Ospreay's probably going to be in my main event or co-main event. And Nick, to your point, I just efforted some more math. A gentleman, as we used to refer to as Gorg, October 1998, he was 32 years old, and a 42-year-old guy gave him the absolute best match of his career, who was DDP. A 42-year-old led a 32-year-old to water.
Albert, what were you saying?
So I just think that so for me, I think that I feel that it's very nice to see you being able to be objective about someone who you consider to be your favorite wrestler, because I think a lot of people, wrestling fans, have tendencies to take their favorites and say they're the greatest of all time. Look, Finn Balor right now currently is my favorite pro wrestler, that's currently wrestling. I don't think I would put him in the top 50 of greatest wrestlers of all time right now. Maybe 50 is being a bit much, but of all time, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he gets there, but that doesn't mean that I enjoy his work any less. I appreciate his work for what it is. For me, I think he's excellent, but I won't put him in that, and that's what I think that you're talking about. I think that people now have a tendency to sit there and go, Will Ospreay is the greatest pro wrestler in the history of the world. His in-ring style is the best way to wrestle, and there's nobody better. And it's like, dude, you can keep telling yourself that, and you can keep telling everybody else that, and that might be true for you, but that doesn't mean that everybody else believes.
Well, Ric Flair is, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. My favorite of all time is Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper, while he and Flair could have a good match here and there, they're night and day. Flair's the greatest. Piper's my favorite.
I'll bring this up. Ronald says, how do we feel about Kenny Omega? I feel his health has damaged his trajectory. I agree with you, Ronald. For example,
he blew too much of his load in Japan.
Kenny Omega
should have saved some.
No, diverticulitis has really screwed him over.
Yes,
Kenny's two best opponents are Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay. All right.
Agreed.
Kenny Omega is one of the best storytellers from an in-ring standpoint in modern professional wrestling. But he's not one of the greatest of all time. I'm sorry, he's not. I love Kenny. Even Kenny in his prime in Japan, when he was literally doing the Sephiroth gimmick every big pay-per-view, when he was main eventing Wrestle Kingdom after Wrestle Kingdom, when he was having these amazing matches and these amazing feuds, he was not AJ Styles. He was not what AJ Styles was in Japan. AJ was, he's talked about in interviews recently, AJ's was a standard bearer for Western wrestling in Japan.
Yeah.
His run in Japan is what got him his job in WWE, because that's the guy that Vince wanted. He wanted New Japan AJ, which is why AJ's style didn't really change much, and he knocked Miz's teeth out on his first night when he got to WWE. AJ Styles, in my opinion, is a generational talent and one of the greatest of all time, because AJ did something that a lot of guys like, I don't know, Shawn Michaels did, Bret Hart did, to a certain degree, Kurt Hennig helped do, which was elevate what wrestling can be.
Think about this, Nick. Who is the last guy to hold the WWE World Heavyweight, Universal, what the fuck ever, whatever their biggest championship is? The TNA, which arguably was the number 2 for a good while, and the New Japan. Who is the last guy to? Who is the last? But I'm just saying, who is the last guy to hold the major championship of the major promotions in the world in a given generation?
AJ Styles. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Bring this back to all the questions.
You make it to the top in one promotion, somebody likes you. You make it to the top in 2, okay, maybe a couple. You make it to the top in 3, 4, okay. It's not just because they like you; it's because you're good.
Here's the thing: you bring up AJ Styles. I'll throw this out real quick. I watched TNA since its inception. I had a hot box, back in the day. I got free pay-per-view, so I got to watch AJ Styles.
Back in my day, a hot box was a whole different thing. But go ahead.
Different thing over here too.
Than you. I get that one too. Believe me. And I was doing that too.
While watching TNA.
If it was possible back in the day, that would be even better, right?
Hell yes.
Oh, I did. Well, I'm older. Go ahead. Sorry. You cracked me up there. Love you, Albert. Love you. I'm loving you already, man. Go ahead.
So I got to watch it from the beginning, and I actually hated AJ Styles when I first started watching him, because I was like, this guy, everybody thinks he's the greatest. And I was, look, it's that John Cena era, right? When the company thinks that you're the greatest, I was in my rebellious teen years where I was like, I don't like you. First of all, I'm the biggest Jerry Lynn fan ever. So they started putting him in matches with Jerry Lynn, and I was like, no, Jerry Lynn needs to be the first X Division champion, not this guy who I've never heard of. I don't care how good he is. So that automatically made me hate AJ Styles from the beginning. I liked AJ Styles when he actually transitioned into the World Championship category, because I was like, you know what? I actually respect TNA for pushing one of their homegrown guys. That's what they really want to do, and I understand it. I guess if it's got to be anybody, it's AJ. But now remember, AJ wins the world title, and then his trajectory brings him right back to being in the X Division. And I hated that, because he immediately wins the X Division title, and I'm like, no, now you screwed up the X Division. That was my that was my thing. Like, they were putting on these great matches, and AJ, as great as he was, the X Division was beneath him at the time, and he was just like having great matches and everything like that. But it just didn't make sense for him to be there. The thing that won me over about AJ Styles was his run with Tomko, being a part of the Christian Coalition. He showed personality. He wasn't afraid to make fun of himself. And at that point, I went, this guy's a star. He's a star. Like, this guy's going to go, like, not only is he going to be the face of this company, one day he's going to be the face of whatever company he's going to go to, because they can't keep him here forever.
Yeah.
When he went to New Japan, I knew he was going to instantaneously be the guy.
Albert, to your point, I have to ask, am I the only one of the 3 gentlemen in this? When I heard you do the Jerry Lynn drop, I was thinking of Mr. JL in 1995.
I have thoroughly enjoyed.
I mean,
I have thoroughly enjoyed Mr. JL on Night.
I,
3 times he's been on it,
I was 8 years old watching him and Dean Malenko tear it up.
including his absolutely epic match with the Disco Inferno's debut on Nitro. I thought it was great because Jerry Lynn carried Glenn Gilberti through at least a 1-star.
Well,
match.
many people carried Glenn Gilberti through many things, but
Right. But yeah, Albert, I tend to agree with you about AJ. When he first broke in, I blame him for creating what I call the kick pad kids.
Yeah.
the kick. I'm not familiar with that one.
Basically, if you look after AJ Styles became a big name in TNA, the likes of, I'm going to say it, Will Ospreay, Pac, Loki, loads of these guys all showed up. Who not so much Loki, he did kicks, but all of these guys showed up wearing shorts, elbow pads, knee pads, and kick pad boots. Even though, like AJ, they didn't
kick pads,
kicks.
actually, okay,
they didn't actually throw kicks.
Yeah,
and it drove me up the wall. As a fan, why are you wearing kick pads if you're not doing kicks? Because I was a Rob Van Dam fan growing up. Right? I watched ECW with my brother, which is why I'm such a big fan of Jerry Lynn. And Rob Van Dam was the first guy I saw wearing kick pads after X-Pac. But X-Pac also did kicks, and Van Dam did kicks. AJ didn't do kicks, so I blamed him for creating the kick pad kids. But as you say, after his run with the Christian Coalition, with Tomko as his tag team partner, where AJ sold his ass off through every single match, and he wasn't just a flippy boy anymore. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn, August 2000 ECW Heatwave, I believe, was the pay-per-view.
Not August 2000 Heatwave was Rob Van Dam versus the one half of the American males.
Scotty Riggs, no, it was Jerry Lynn versus Justin Credible. He invented
the Van Terminator.
It was Jerry Lynn versus Justin Credible, and he wiped the blood.
Oh, he wrote die on his chest.
I was 10 years old and getting a chubby watching that.
It was Jerry Lynn versus
Steve Corino. Oh, damn it, you're right. Yeah, Credible was the world champion at that time. He faced
Lance Storm. Tommy Dreamer. It was Tommy Dreamer. It was supposed to be a triple threat versus Lance Storm and Tommy. No, it was supposed to be a triple threat versus him and Tommy. And Justin came out and said
Steve Corino had turned into that time maybe the greatest chicken shit heel in wrestling.
Justin did his whole Medusa run where he said he was going to put the belt in the bin if anyone other than Lance Storm came out for the match. He was messing. But no, wax miracle. Right, back to the point at hand. What the hell are we talking about? We've completely derailed.
We derailed, but we've been on a pleasant track.
We were on AJ Styles for a little bit.
You dropped Jerry Lynn, you know where I'm going.
Okay, so quick question, because it fills into everything else, and I've run out of topics, so I'm just making stuff up at this point, as long as you guys don't mind. Greatest of all time list, top 5. Albert?
God.
Oops.
Men and women, doesn't really matter.
Oh, God, that's so hard to do.
I know.
All right, so is this personal? What are we basing this on? Is this full package?
Your personal favorite wrestler?
My personal top 5.
Not drawers, like who we want to.
Your personal top 5.
Okay.
Who, in your personal opinion, nice.
Dave Lee, who is a very dear friend of mine, whose show I've been on multiple times. Dave used to make fun of me all the time because I used to say Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler. And he would tell me, stop lying, Macho Man's really your favorite wrestler. He was right.
So do I, Ronald. Yeah.
So Macho Man, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho. And now the list gets, it's hard. Like, I want to throw in, I want to just make this easy and say Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rob Van Dam. That's my 5. But I feel like at any point, those two can change and other people can be in there, but that's probably my 5.
Okay. Well, Sting, Dusty Rhodes, Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho.
Okay.
All right. Roddy Piper is number 1. That's Piper's my guy. Number 2, and I had to. If you asked me this question 3-4 years ago, it would have been flipped between 2 and 3. But at this point, number 2 is Sting. Nick, I need to send you the pictures. One of my friends from high school went to a funeral down where I used to grow up, about an hour south. Apparently, Sting knew the guy, and Steve Borden showed up to the funeral. He's got a picture of him and Steve just after the memorial service.
That's crazy.
My mind was blown. So Sting just flew down to Arkansas to this random dude he knew, went to his funeral. So more props for how great a human being Steve Borden is. So Piper, Sting, Steve Austin. And then 4 and 5, again, you can ask me this in 5 years and it may change. Bret Hart, Jake Roberts. I would go Bret right now. Jake probably 5. Bret was the better worker. Jake was the better promo. But on a given day, I would say, like, if I were picking my War Games team, give me Piper. Oh shit! Oh, actually, you know what? I have to. All right, let's.
You make an amendment, don't you?
I have to make an amendment here because you mentioned favorites, and I cannot believe I did not even think of this. So I am going to subtract. I gotta subtract Austin out of here. In between Sting and Bret, I'm going Terry Funk.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good choice.
So Piper, Sting, Terry Funk, Bret Hart, Jake Roberts. Sorry, Steve, I love you, but there's another man from Texas who owns my heart.
Okay, gents. Now
It's hard.
we are fast approaching that time of day, so I have one more question for you. This, as Cap knows about this, but you haven't done this before, Albert. I always spring this upon everybody on In Our Opinion. We end the show. I want your most unpopular wrestling opinion.
Okay.
My most unpopular wrestling opinion.
Mine is simple. It never changes. Darby Allin should never be world heavyweight champion. He's not ready.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree, but here's the thing about Darby. You can say the same thing about Jay. He is over with that audience. But then again,
no. Darby is over, but he's not what Tony Khan wants him to be. Tony Khan wants him to be Sting.
Just because you're over doesn't mean you should go over.
He's never going to be Sting. Darby Allin, just to sing his praises for a minute, is everything AEW should be. Wrapped up in one wrestler.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He is everything WWF don't want.
I think I have mine.
Well,
British Bulldog should have won the world title in between late 97 and late 96 and early 97. There was a period of time where he should have beat Shawn and should have had a microwave title run for like a month or two. I still don't understand.
It could have very well beaten Bret in December 95. They didn't pull the trigger on it because Davey was still
cracked off his face.
Yes. Here
maybe
we are, 3 years removed from SummerSlam 92. Bret, I'm fooked. And he was still fooked.
You cannot do a Manchester accent.
I can't. Go ahead, Albie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can't do a Manchester. I don't know if I can do a Manchester accent either. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. I did a whole play with a British accent, and I don't even know what area.
Oh wait a minute!
I've got to
hear this. Sorry, I've got to hear this.
Well, you mean you're telling me
British?
All right. So here's the thing. It's been a long time since I actually did this, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get back into it. Because once I started with it, I kind of got like the cadence down and all. But then I got to a point where it was like, all right, I don't know enough people to talk to in order to make it that it's like completely right.
Well, it's easy, mate. If you're from somewhere like Birmingham, you talk like this.
So that might be
you overly accentuate.
See, now Nick, you sound like Tony Iommi, who is Birmingham born and bred.
There you go.
If you are from Dudley, you pronounce everything as too much, and you go up a notch and talk about it in a way. But there's as many accents in England as there is words. Right?
Yeah,
so it's different. But you have made fatal flaw that every single person does when they go.
This week, my office just hired a dude from Yorkshire.
Can I do an American accent?
Can you?
I don't know. I can do an Australian because I was Australian for many years.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not too far removed from.
No, it's not. Well, Australian's easy because you just got to put a lot of twang in your voice and talk like that. You go up and down, you work what you want to do, and you go where you like. But
when you do an American accent, what American accent are you going to do? Are you going to be from Tennessee?
Well, I can't do New York. I tried Dale. I tried copying Dale, and I cannot do a New York accent. I mean, you guys want to go down that way? It's easy enough to talk like somebody who's from down south.
Yeah, see, that'll work.
That way up, and it goes west. But this is the problem. People from our country always do that when they do an American accent. People from your country always do London.
Yeah, that's about right.
But you always pick 1950s Cockney London. Right?
Because that's what British is to Americans.
Yeah. But they don't sound like that, bro.
No, I know.
If I did not know you, I would have pegged you for somewhere. I would have pegged you for somewhere around middle to East Tennessee on that one. Just
there you go. But no, Will Ospreay is the perfect example of who you should copy to do a down south accent, because that's how they all talk.
That's fair, actually. Yeah.
He's from Essex, and they all talk like that in Essex. They're all half posh, half wanker.
To be fair, if you really want to get technical, the play I did was Dial M for Murder, which was a 1950s play. So I should have.
Okay, in that case, you were perfectly in character.
It actually made sense for me, at least. Everybody else, screw them all. But for me, it made sense.
Perfectly in character.
I remember my mom's side of the family are like 80% British with a little like 20% Irish sprinkled in. So my British, when I actually even try it, is repulsive. So it's not even worth doing. My hottest take in pro wrestling, the number one that I will stand on until he's out of the business, is Jon Moxley is an embarrassment to pro wrestling. My second one is
the modern day Terry Funk.
No, Terry Funk's matches made sense. His promos made sense. Jon Moxley, I was the biggest Jon Moxley mark a decade ago. And when he went to AEW, finally he's going to get to do what he wants. He's got Vince off. He said, oh my God, that's what he wants. Okay, fuck me. Second would be
hang on. Everybody forgets where Jon Moxley started.
Thank you. I was going to say, you remember where he was before WWE? He was in CCW.
CZW, the original incarnation of GCW, the Deathmatch Kingdom that was CZW, where nobody had to wrestle. You just had to brutalize each other for about 20 minutes at a time, and everybody cheered. That's how Jon Moxley was raised. But the reason I call him the modern day Terry Funk, and nobody agrees with me on this, is because Jon will put his body through hell, just like Terry. Jon will put his body through hell to get somebody over, just like Terry. Jon will put his body through hell to get somebody below him, just like Terry. Jon will put his body through hell to sell a storyline, even if, like the Death Riders, that fucking story makes no goddamn sense. But he will put his body through hell, just like Terry Funk, for whatever situation he's in. I will never compare him to Mick Foley because he doesn't have the class that Mick has, but I will always compare him to Terry because they both throw soup bone fists. Neither of them have got any grace in the ring. They can't do moonsaults, and they both have the same repertoire.
Terry was gracefully unelegant in his moonsaults, but Terry's promos were badass. Terry had the class of having come from the Funk family with Dory Jr. and Dory Sr. He had the background, the pedigree of having been a great technical wrestler, and then as age caught up to him, he had to change his game, which is why he became Crazy Terry, which worked just as well. Mox,
to be fair though, his early promos were a lot better. They weren't as wild. His early promos were great when he was, when
I'm gonna walk around this ring. I'm gonna spill blood. I'm gonna drink blood. I'm gonna eat. Mox, go fuck yourself. The more popular opinion maybe that I keep waiting for that would really draw me at this point, I'm about 50-50, just kind of hanging around pro wrestling. You want to get being back 100%, put the belt on Cody Rhodes, turn him heel with Brandy as his manager.
Ballet.
That would be the absolute greatest heel tandem in history. He and that woman is a heat-seeking missile in a good way.
Here's the thing about Cody's heel turn. I think at this point, everyone who has been a fan of Cody Rhodes for a long period of time wants to see what he can do as a heel champion. We all do.
But he would rival Flair as a heel.
Have you heard the crowd?
They have, he's still over. Like, I mean, they're not booing him.
He sells more merch than anyone.
Oh, he's over like Rover. Hogan was over like Rover.
But the kids love him. The kids hated Hogan when he turned heel. We were sick and tired of it.
Yeah, because he told them to stick it.
No,
before it though, they were booing him in WCW.
Of 1995, he was getting booed. I've been watching.
Yes,
he was his WWF run too.
Yeah,
that 90, like late, like say second half of 95, early 96. Yes, Hogan was getting, and Kevin Sullivan, my second favorite booker of all time, had the foresight. They did that little tease, you remember, around Halloween Havoc 95. Let's just see.
Kind of in black.
Yep.
Now, anyway, so Codelander needs to happen eventually. The reason I use the word Codelander is, do you boys watch The Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, Homelander is deluded in The Boys. He thinks he's a hero. Yeah?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Cody needs to do. Cody can't just turn heel and be a bad guy. Cody
He has to
needs
be
believe-
the bad guy.
No. Cody needs to believe that he's still the hero in his own story.
Similar, well, Hogan,
Cody needs-
when Hogan made that turn, all of my NWOites, you worship the ground that Hollywood walks
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, but Cody can do it with a subtle twist.
He
doesn't
could.
need to be full on.
He's
He
got
just
dusty.
needs
He's
to
got dusty DNA promo skills.
he
Cody
just
could do
needs to-
anything on the
He
mic.
just needs to still act like Cody, but so people can see there's something else going on behind his eyes. And over months and months of build, you slowly turn Cody towards the dark side. Because at first, he's complete denial. Nothing he's doing is wrong. He's defending his world championship. He's supporting the kids. He's doing everything else. He's doing all the make wishes, blah, 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 blah. But as his run goes on and on and on, he has to start trying to cheat. He has
Don't
to
you
start
at some
doing
point get
things
into
that
that
are
whole Kurt Angle,
questionable.
I am your American hero, where it's just laughable, not booable?
No, because they can do
Okay,
it with
okay.
Cody. Cody is good enough where he can do it subtly. And subtlety is a lost art in professional wrestling. These days, you have to smash people in the face with things or they
Agreed,
do not
agreed.
get it. Cody will turn heel eventually, but Albert, you've got to agree with me, it's not going to happen for at least 2 years.
Oh, I think 2 is being generous. I think there's a point in Cody's career right now where
Well, Hogan turned heel at 42. Cody's 38, going to be 39 shortly. So Albert's timeline's not too far off if you're comparing the run. Go ahead,
I
Albert.
also don't know if Cody is. I think Cody's could have just as long of a career as Hogan, but I also don't know how long Cody's going to stay this over. He might, and there may not be a reason to do it. I think that there's a real chance where, and I think that Bianca Belair is going to suffer from this as well. There's a real chance where they're going to be so over that they just may never make sense to turn them heel as much as people want to see it. And I think.
Do you think he's like approaching Steamboat territory where like Ricky Steamboat, like you could never turn Ricky Steamboat heel?
Ray
ever.
Mysterio is in that category too. I just don't think you could turn Ray heel either. I just think that there's a point where I think that
Same sauce, different kitchen, but I get where you're going there.
I'll use my favorite example, Sting.
Yeah,
They tried.
They tried. Believe it, for a month.
It lasted 4 weeks and they went, shit, we made a mistake.
WCW tried Ray Mysterio. They tried Ray Mysterio, and they were like, it didn't work. Let's go right back. The Filthy Animals became faces. It just
here's the thing. To Nick's point, when Sting hit Hogan with the bat at Fall Brawl 99, the crowd cheered. They loved it. I think what drug him down was that he tried to embrace the heel too much, and also he had Luger at his side at that point who was immobile, couldn't talk, couldn't work. Luger was.
But I think the point Albert is going to make, or is trying to make, is that Cody is could suffer from being too good at his job, essentially. If you look at the roster, and just on SmackDown, because we have a brand split, so there's no point looking at Raw as well, name one other babyface on SmackDown that can replace Cody.
Punk.
On SmackDown.
On SmackDown, pardon me. SmackDown. Not good for a
Nights on Raw. LA Knights on Raw.
Well, that tells you how SmackDown. Good God.
There isn't any. Yeah. They're all heels. Cody's the only big babyface on that show. And he's doing a marvelous job at it. Right?
Main Event Mafia Sting was a heel, but...
I'm going to rant a little bit, and people are going to say I'm an anti-AEW shill, but I don't fucking care. Right? I hate the AEW fan base with a passion.
As do I.
They are a bunch of spoiled, entitled hypocrites who think they know exactly what professional wrestling should be when most of them aren't old enough to hold my jockstrap. Right? The simple fact is they do not get it. They turn around because they didn't like the fact that Cody was a sports entertainer in a wrestler's world and went, we need him to be a heel. We need him to be a heel. We don't want him to be a babyface. And we're going to boo him because he won't turn babyface. You weren't booing him because he was bad at his job. You were booing him because he didn't give you what you wanted.
Thank you.
Professional wrestling is not about giving fans what they want. It's about subverting expectations and then delivering at the last minute so you get a big pop.
Suspension of disbelief.
Correct.
Making you believe that even though you know this thing is orchestrated, synchronized, planned, just that smidge of a doubt, just that tiny little inkling that this thing could go off the rails if these certain little pieces of you got a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. If pieces number 9, 97, 98, 99, 1,000 don't go as planned, this thing could get you. It's an art. It's willing to be decepted and enjoying being decepted. So,
right. Look, here's my thing about AEW fans. Imagine how their heads would explode if AEW was in any way booked like what we saw in the 80s. Imagine if they were in World Class and they were Von Erich fans in the 80s. And how
Christ.
Kevin got this close to winning the world title. How many times that David got this close to winning the world title? Yeah. Finally, they put it on Kerry for a short period of time where the whole world erupts, and then he loses it a couple of months later. Imagine how their minds would. I mean, they would melt. How many times did we see the Hulk Hogan Nick Bockwinkel AWA fake title change? How many times like that in the 70s and the 80s? Where
this man knows his history, folks.
Look, because the example that everybody will probably use.
We'll also not forget Vern telling Hogan to, go piss off when it came to wanting certain amounts of dollars for his royalty. Continue. I'm loving this.
But, I think the modern day example of it was what they did with Chris Jericho and Triple H, right? During the Attitude Era, where they took they did the title change and then took it away. They did that a lot in the 70s and 80s. That was a trope back then. This is why I don't like AEW fans, because they don't have any sense of knowledge. And I know Tony Khan knows this kind of stuff, but I know that I think that he's actually smart enough to understand I can't book like this, because if I book like this, my fan base would literally implode. They are, and the thing about AEW fans is that they'll eat up anything that Tony Khan does, unless they, as a group, collectively agree that it's something that they don't like. And it has to start small and gain momentum, and it's got to almost be like, and Chris Jericho is the example, right? Chris Jericho is the example of a couple of people were like, man, Jericho's on TV a lot, and then it became the Jericho Vortex, and it's like, we've all mutually agreed that we can hate this. Great, now let's hate this. Britt Baker is another great example. Britt Baker was the it person in AEW. All of a sudden, Thunder Rosa was like, hey, she sandbagged me. Britt Baker's the worst person ever. It's like, unless they can universally agree that they don't like something, they love everything. And that's the thing that they told every WWE fan. This is where it gets me mad. They told every WWE fan 7 years ago, when WWE was the only game in town, if you don't complain, then you're just going to get crap shows. And if you say you like everything, then they're just going to keep booking, and they're not going to care about what you say. And that's exactly what AEW fans do. They don't care. They'll take whatever is given to them, and they'll tell you that not only do they love it, they'll give you an essay about why it's the greatest thing they've ever seen.
Because they suffer from a similar but different disease as WWE fans. AEW fans have a billionaire owner. He could draw 100,000 seat house or a 0-seat house. His finances, he is going to keep doing it. WWE could sell 1 million PLE paper, whatever, or sell none. It's not going to change. What they don't understand is that back in the day when you had, pre-whatever all this is booking, if you started screwing up and you saw the house drop, your bank account, you could see it dropping. You had to start changing stuff. Like if you looked at any territory in history, a new booker comes in, Booker John Schmo. Okay, they give him 2-3 months. If that house starts dropping off, they're going to make a change quick. I recall the Memphis territory whenever Ron Fuller was booking. Jerry Jarrett had taken time off. In the 6 months, the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum had dropped by like 2/3. One night, Jerry Jarrett and Ron Fuller are in the balcony. Jerry Jarrett says to Ron, well, Ron, it can't get much worse. Ron spits his tobacco. Oh, yeah, it can. He was relieved of duty. It's like, no, it cannot.
Well,
Jerry was saying, no, you cannot
bring that
you
subject
have
back to
fix this.
AEW. Me and my brother have talked about this for a long time. Tony Khan's AEW's biggest problem.
Yes.
Tony Khan loves his new action figures, Albert.
Oh,
He likes to buy his new toys, and he likes to play with them for about 3 months. Then he buys a new action figure and forgets about the old ones. Tony Khan.
I did that when I was 8.
Tony Khan needs a booker like most human beings need air to breathe. Right? The fact is, he should not be booking the show. It is a physical impossibility to run a English football team, an American football team, and a professional wrestling company and be able to put all of your marbles into that basket.
Imagine if when Ted Turner bought Crockett Promotions in 1988 and Ted Turner took the book from Dusty Rhodes.
It'd be terrible.
That is AEW.
It's exactly what it is. He needs to hire somebody to book for him. The fact is, he has Bryan Danielson on his books, and he's using him on commentary. He has Jerry Lynn. He has Jerry Lynn on his books, and he's using him in some stupid angle with the Acclaimed on Ring of Honor of all places. Dean Malenko works there. All of these guys that understand the psychology.
Jake Roberts still works there, correct?
All of these guys that understand the psychology and the mathematical side to professional wrestling when it comes to how to put a show together from a psychological standpoint with the crowd and from a mathematical standpoint with the in-ring action. Yet Tony Khan seems completely oblivious to this fact and goes, "Oh, it's okay, I can do it."
But you have this fan base. You have this fan base that would like. Okay, well, I put Jake Roberts in my top 5. What moves did he have? Punches, short arm clothesline, DDT. If you presented that to an AEW audience, they're going to boo it out of the house because they're not watching for the psychology, for the work. They're just like, move, top rope, top rope, top rope, top rope. 30 minutes later, oh, there's a pinfall after 16 false finishes.
Look, that's the thing. The AEW, that's the AEW style, right? Everybody talks about that. This is what pisses me off too. That if you go to WWE, you have to slow down and work the WWE style, which is, I mean, to a point, there is a WWE style, right?
Yeah, it's called telling stories.
Right, and it's called being safe, not doing things just to do things. There's reasons for these things. Now you can see how some of these guys, when they were wrestling in WWE, everybody was like, man, they're going to be crazy in AEW. Is Ricochet wrestling any differently in AEW than he did in WWE?
No, he's just showing more personality.
No, turning him heel was the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. He's amazing. Yeah. I'm not saying anything bad, but I don't think that he was slowed down in WWE.
Nope.
I don't think that by any shot was that the case. I think that wrestling.
He was still the flippiest of the flippy boys.
Right. But the thing is that what wrestling fans don't understand is that AEW has a style, and their style is exactly what the captain just said. Whether the match is 8 minutes or 35 minutes, it's going to be, let me see how many moves I can shove into this thing that I can, and do as many false finishes as I possibly can, and then lose to a roll-up.
Is it more dynamic? Is it better for the story if you catch color 15 minutes into a 20-minute match versus catching color 5 minutes in when,
Right. You brought him up, Albert. Will Ospreay. You know, I'm pissed off with Tony Khan because what he did to Will Ospreay's body. Will Ospreay was the golden goose of British professional wrestling. He was the golden goose of New Japan professional wrestling. When Will Ospreay signed with AEW, he had a replacement for Kenny Omega he couldn't have dreamed of. And what did he do? He had him lose for 6 months. Then he had him push stupid move after stupid move after stupid move for 6 months. He told him to jump off a cage. He told him to jump off a balcony. Will Ospreay hadn't done any of this shit in 9 years because he had changed in Japan. He had realized that the style he was wrestling was breaking his body down. So he changed and became a more ground-based, storytelling-focused wrestler. But that's not what the AEW fan base want from Will. They want Will from 2006 that doesn't exist anymore. They want the flippy boy, the aerial assassin, the guy who just runs off all the ropes and puts himself at risk. If Will Ospreay had signed 2 people that signed with AEW that I never wanted to sign with AEW were Will Ospreay and Jay White.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Will Ospreay and Jay White should both work for Triple H. Will Ospreay would be Cody Rhodes' challenger this year's WrestleMania and probably winning this year's Royal Rumble as a heel because he's a much better heel than he is a babyface. And he'd be going up against Cody Rhodes this year at WrestleMania if it was my book. And Jay White would probably be World Heavyweight Champion.
Nick, do you recall it was GCW, Will Ospreay and Nick Gage?
Yes.
Small arena, 18 by 18. They barely left the ropes. It was a great match between two very athletic human beings.
You mean Nick Wayne, not Nick Gage.
Nick Wayne, yes.
It's two different types of wrestler.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Nick Wayne, Will Ospreay.
The guy that's going to barely leave the ring.
Yeah.
Nick Wayne, I go back and watch that match. I'm not a big flippy guy, but when they did it, it made sense because they're young, athletic dudes. People said, "Oh, Cap's not going to like what's his name? Tag team DIY.
Johnny Gargano.
Cap's going to hate. No, I didn't hate Gargano. Gargano worked the style of match he should have worked because he's 5'8", 120 pounds, dripping wet. That's why I love Rey Mysterio. He works the match. If you're 5'7" and your opponent is 6'4", you're not going to try and test the strength this dude. You're going to try and move around and wear him out. Well, I'm fine with that. Make it make sense.
I'll use the best example I can of the match that I believe all AEW fans think wrestling should be. And it's Will Ospreay versus Ricochet from the New Japan Cup.
I've not seen it, but
best of the Super Juniors, should I say. Will Ospreay, it broke the internet.
Yeah.
It is the flippiest match in the history of flippy matches.
Yeah.
I'll give you a great example, Nick, and you'll get this of how opinions change. I can remember in my living room 20 minutes ago, I was a tape trader. I had Starrcade 93 Flair versus Vader on VHS. And this is just random high school penny ante poker night. I shoved that in the VHS. That match came on. All the guys then was like, man, like Flair, like working with this match is really good. Like him and like Vader, look how he's working. 20 years later, I was watching that same match on the YouTube, whatever channel where they put things on. And people were just bad-mouthing and bitching at it, saying how horrible it's like, do you people not have a clue? Flair is 6 foot tall with lifters in his boots. Vader is a 6'4" behemoth offensive lineman. Flair worked the exact kind of match he should have worked. Oh, but he didn't do enough. It's like, oh, for crying out loud.
Albert,
in 20 years, opinions change.
If you could do one thing besides change the fan base to improve, I'm not going to say fix because that's pedantic, but to improve.
Great word.
AEW should be at WCW's point by now. It should be nearly drawing what WWE draw. It's been around for 5 years, nearly 6 years. Right, and the crowds are getting smaller instead of getting larger. And I believe the reason for this is twofold. One, Tony Khan can't book his way out of a paper bag. And two, they don't change. AEW is a stagnant company in the respect that they just do the same thing every single week. And they don't tell enough stories. If you could change one thing or a couple of things, what would you change?
So first of all, I think that I would have to I think the first thing that Tony Khan needs to understand is that there's going to be a point where he's going to have to disappoint his hardcore fan base. I think there was a point where he tried to do it and he went about it completely the wrong way a few years ago, where he leaned into certain things that I don't think were the strengths of what he should have been leaning into. What Tony Khan needs is to AEW, not Tony Khan, but AEW, in my opinion, and this is just me, this is my opinion. What I believe that they need to do is they need to find an anchor for both of those shows. They need an anchor for both because look, Moxley has been doing it for a while, but I think you're getting to a point where Moxley's wrestling every week. The guy's got to take a little bit of a break. I think you have a guy like MJF who's there, who should be overall the number one guy in that company. The other guy that I think should be
Albert, I want to marry you.
The other guy that I think should be the other guy, they have the world title on. I think Hangman is the perfect person for not only just the AEW audience, but for a pro wrestling audience right now, because I think that he speaks to younger fans better than almost anybody in WWE does right now. He's not afraid to be vulnerable. He's not afraid to tell people that he's got anxiety, that he's scared. He's not the baby face that everybody like, oh, I'm gonna go in there. He has doubts.
Right.
And he has
you know something, brother.
And
Here's the thing.
He feels he's not immortal. He feels like a human. And I love that about Hangman. And the person who is the antithesis of that is MJF. If you have both of those guys on rival brands where MJF is the top heel on Collision all the time, and Hangman is the top babyface on Dynamite all the time, and then at one point, one of those guys comes to the other, that's your big major match. And they could build to that. And I think that in that way, you are establishing stars. You're telling your fan base, not only just the ones who are there, but the ones who are now going to start joining, that these are your guys, and you tell stories around all of it. I don't care what you say. Shave 5 minutes off of matches. Give me promo packages. Give me backstage interviews. Give me continuations of story. Show me that there's a continuity. Show me where things are, and don't just sit there, because look, as much as people like, well, the announcers will tell you, it's hard to understand when the idea is, okay, and here we go, drop down, leapfrog, and arm drag, drop down, double down, and drop kick. All right, well, remember that this story started 2 weeks ago, and these two guys were in a match, and then this guy pinned this guy, and then, there's a big hurt.
When Excalibur's doing his best Joey Styles impression, it's hard to flipping tell stories. But to expand on what you've just said, I have an opinion. And
go ahead, Nick. I have 3 compliments for Albert. He just made a speech I wish I could have.
I have an opinion. Now, that there are always 4 guys in a company. Yeah. There are always 4 top guys. Right? For example, back in the day, in the Attitude Era, you had Austin, Rock, Taker, Mankind.
Yeah.
Right? There's always 4. You had Randy Orton, Cena, Edge, Brock Lesnar. Right? There's always 4 guys at the top of the card that can interchange, have matches against each other, tell good stories, and be pushed and raise stars up. That's what they're for. They have their 4 guys.
Yeah.
2 of them are injured right now, but they have their 4 guys.
And they
have MJF, they have Hangman, they have Ospreay, and they have Swerve. You don't need anybody else. Yeah. You can literally build your company around those 4 dudes for years to come. The fact that they all have ready-made interconnecting stories with each other, I don't understand why. Like, Tony Khan had the right idea with the 4 pillars concept. With the exception of MJF, he just picked the wrong guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it is that, there's a lot of tropes where they could, borrow from WWE. And I'm not saying they should be WWE, but Kenny Omega being in the CM Punk role of being the veteran who's coming in and trying to keep up with the younger guys makes a lot more sense to them just saying, he's the Kenny Omega of old. He's not.
He's not.
He's not.
But he never will be.
And that's
he said it himself. He can't be 100% Kenny anymore, which is fine.
That's fine, because AJ Styles isn't the same guy. But you know what the WWE didn't do? They didn't pretend that AJ Styles was the same guy this whole time. They showed that he had some flaws. CM Punk's not the guy that left. He's this new guy that came back. He's when he left. It's not the same guy.
There is one guy, in my opinion, that not just bash AEW. There's one guy that WWE really screwed up in the last 4 years, and a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but it's Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins is the modern day Macho Man Randy Savage. Right? He's the guy that can have a great match with a mop. You put him in there with anyone on the roster, he'll get a decent match out of them. It doesn't matter who they are. And he'll tell a good story. The problem they've had with Seth is they don't change him. Like, when he became the leader of Division and the new heel, etc., his music should have changed. They should have got rid of the song. The outlandish outfits should have toned down a la Macho King of Randy Savage.
I would have said Savage NWO 97, 98. It was toned down, but what did they do? They made Savage crazier.
Yeah, the madness. right?
The most dangerous man in the business because he would do anything.
Well, Seth needs a similar tweak because now the problem I've got with this, it's horrible. You never want to see anyone get injured, right? But the problem is he's going to come back as a babyface to face Breaker because they're going to push Breaker as a heel because he's with Heyman, right? Well, the problem is there's no chutzpah behind babyface Seth anymore because they didn't change who Seth was visually when they made him a heel. All of the best guys get over with the volume, being themselves, the volume turned up to 11. Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't change his character when he became a babyface. He just started directing his vitriol at people the fans agreed with.
Right.
Seth doesn't need to change who he is.
When he turned heel, though.
How he's presented.
But when
Austin turned heel,
he did change aspects about himself. He became a little goofier. Yeah. He wasn't as serious. So he changed aspects about him because you wanted people to hate him. And that's what you want out of Seth. You want to sing my music? No, gone. Tommaso Ciampa, exactly what he did. You want a cool entrance? Screw you. No music.
Yeah, no music, no gear on the marketplace. Do not sell merch. Because the old school heel mentality. If you are a bad guy, why do you want the fans doing anything for you?
Right.
I have to Albert's point that he made about 5 or so minutes ago. Yes, you have to disappoint the fan base. I remember my 9th birthday party. I grew up in a family of Southern wrestling fans. And I remember my 9th birthday party, one of the old codgers who grew up watching Georgia Championship Wrestling and Ole Anderson, and he was talking about a match with Benoit and Raven, and he's like, "Man, I can't watch this stuff no more. This ain't the wrestling." A year later, who was buying the pay-per-views? Not that guy. People my age. We were saving up our allowance to watch that stuff. Second point, Hangman in that whole CM Punk Mishigosh, Jungle Boy, go to hell. Young Bucks, I never liked you anyway. I hate you even more now. Hangman is forgiven because while he did go into business for himself and sort of kick-started that whole thing, he has redeemed himself over time. Like, okay, you went into business for yourself, but man, and I was telling my friend Davey, who's a huge AEW fan, since that time, I have not watched a Hangman match and been disappointed. Like he's gotten his head on straight and he works great.
I've said it to you a couple of times, Albert, on Jimmy's show. Hangman's a great worker.
Yeah.
Yes.
In ring, he's a great worker. He doesn't have bad matches. The problem is his booking is dog shit.
Yes.
That's why his first title run was such a dud. Because they did this wonderful build, him winning the title, and then the whole company, and oh crap, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And the third compliment to Albie, you mentioned getting Hangman and MJF in a program. To me, my Georgia Guidestone, my 3 pyramids is Flair, Steamboat, 89. That trilogy, I've yet to see anything before or since get to that point. But for AEW, if they did it right, Hangman and MJF, if Tony Khan just took some sleeping pills for about a year or something, and we got Hangman MJF as it should and could be, that would be phenomenal. Like that would be that promotion's Flair Steamboat, if done right.
Well, they've already got their Rock Austin, which is Hangman and Swerve.
Yeah, they've got their Rock Austin. They need their Flair Steamboat.
Yeah. Right, but anyway,
MJF is their Flair. Hangman could be.
We have gone well over time.
And pleasantly so.
It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me. But do you guys have anything you want to plug before we go?
Just watch the Positively Awesome Wrestling podcast when we get back. Nick, you're usually on there, so if you follow Nick, you'll probably see.
When does that podcast air these days?
It would have been 11:30 tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Thursday nights.
Normally Thursday nights between 11 and 11:30 UK time. I don't know what time that is.
Normally 6:30 Central Time.
Yes.
Whereabouts in the U.S. are you, Albert?
I'm in New York.
You're near. I'm an hour. I'm Central Time. I'm in northern Arkansas.
Yeah, you're a country bumpkin.
Yeah, so we're
Well, I'm in the good part of the state, where we, I'm a very well-educated, well-spoken country bumpkin.
we start at 6:30 Eastern, so I think
Okay.
you're an hour behind us. So
it'll be 5:30 Central.
yeah, that's where
Okay.
Jimmy is. Yeah,
No, Jimmy.
So what's the Positively Awesome Wrestling
Florida.
Podcast? Hopefully, we'll be back next Thursday, assuming Jimmy is back from touching
should be.
grass.
Yeah, we should be.
And then also next Friday, not this Friday, sorry, my co-host is away. We'll be back with the Friday Nitro review, also on the Positively Awesome Wrestling Show. Please
This
do watch.
grass is really screwing us here.
Yeah, I know. As far as this channel, the Wrestling Legion goes, I want to apologize to anybody watching. It has been a long absence. I recently lost my mother, and it hit me very, very hard. And I'm afraid I wasn't able to organize things with my boys, Andy and Simon, to get this channel up and running. So it's been a long 4 months, but I am back. Hopefully, we will be back full time, and we'll be running weekly podcasts. Albert, you are welcome to join whenever you like. Captain, you are welcome to join whenever you like.
I am here anytime I am invited, needed, and if
We'll
I
be
may
doing
just...
Also, Albert, I can't get hold of Sav. Do you want to be a judge?
Sure, that'd be fun.
It's that way I have the biased judge from one side and the biased judge from the other side.
That's fair.
And I'm the unbiased judge in the middle.
I'm down.
For Jimmy's next title defense, which should be early first, second week of December.
I'm down.
Yes.
Let me know when.
Also,
I'm in.
folks, we are bringing back as a one-time special Wrestling with Your Thoughts, Fantasy Booking Warfare. It will be my champion, the Forever Champ, the undisputed king of professional wrestling media, Jimmy Bebe, versus Harry, who, sorry,
I'm
Harry,
going to have to come out of retirement, aren't I? The one guy to ever force Jimmy to a tie. I never beat him straight. Actually, no, we had a best of three. I beat him one. I tied him once. Then he.
No. He beat you twice and you tied him once.
Okay, so the only guy to ever tie Jimmy Bebe.
He beats everybody else. But
Is this
Wrestling with
guy.
Your Thoughts will be back the first, second week of December with a brand new episode. They will be rebooking WrestleMania from.
I'd love to be just like Terry Funk at
WrestleMania 2026. I can't
was
remember
it,
the number right now.
Wrestle War '89. Can I just be like Terry Funk, come up to the judges table and then put Jimmy through the table, like do the Terry Funk pile driver? I quit match, Clash of the Champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. There will be no outro video because it's not letting me play them, so I'm just going to sign off and that's it. Please look after yourselves, take care of yourselves, enjoy professional wrestling. See you soon.